Today we go through the data structure, basic concept of data structures and introduction to the data structures. Okay, so basically first we go through the need of data structure. Why we needed the data structures? Basically, there is a in modern day computing problems are complex and large. So there is a need of data structure. They need to handle data in large volumes. There is a need to store and process information of variety of types. For example, characters, numeric data, audio, video, graphics. Um, and next point is the data has to store such that the logical relationship between data elements and elements is retained. तो इसमें हमने जो भी देखा है फर्स्ट व्हाई डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स इज नीडेड बेसिकली डेटा स्ट्रक्चर किस लिए जरूरी है तो डेटा स्ट्रक्चर इसलिए जरूरी है कि अगर एक बेसिक सिंपल एग्जांपल लेते हैं कि अगर हमने जो भी हमारा कबर्ड है उसमें हम जो भी क्लॉथ्स है वो अगर ऐसे ही रखते हैं तो उसमें क्या होता है कि जब भी हमें स्पेसिफिक क्लॉथ चाहिए तो उसके लिए हमें वो सारा जो कबर्ड है वो ढूंढना पड़ता है उसके बाद ही हम वो स्पेसिफिक क्लॉथ क्या कर सकते हैं फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं ओके बट अगर वही हम प्रॉपरली ऑर्गेनाइज करके जो भी क्लॉथ्स है वो रखते हैं तो वो इजीली हम वो जो पर्टिकुलर क्लॉथ है वो फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं तो वैसे ही है कि डेटा स्ट्रक्चर से डेटा किस लिए डेटा कंप्यूटर में बेसिकली डेटा स्टोर होता है तो जो भी डेटा हम कंप्यूटर में स्टोर करते हैं वो इट इज इन लार्ज वॉल्यूम ओके सो अगर हमने वो डेटा प्रॉपरली ऑर्गेनाइज नहीं किया तो जो भी डेटा हमें चाहिए वो हमें इजीली नहीं मिल सकता ओके सो देर इज अ नीड टू organize data in proper way and store it in proper way so we can access it properly okay so this is the need of data structures okay then what is the advantages of data structures structures data makes it easier to access and manipulate the information as a raw एंड अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा जो भी डेटा हम स्टोर करते हैं उसको हमें इजीली एक्सेस करना है मैनिपुलेट करना है अपडेट करना है तो वो आसान हो जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स ओके second advantage of data structure is a variety of operation can be performed on data structure data अगर डेटा हम प्रॉपरली ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं तो उस पे हम नंबर ऑफ ऑपरेशंस परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं ओके अगर डेटा अनस्ट्रक्चर है तो उसमें हम प्रॉपरली ऑपरेशंस परफॉर्म नहीं कर सकते नेक्स्ट एडवांटेज ऑफ डेटा स्ट्रक्चर इज रिलेटेड डेटा कैन बी स्टोर टुगेदर इन द रिक्वायर्ड फॉर्मेट ओके जो भी रिलेटेड डेटा है वो हम प्रॉपरली ऑर्गेनाइज कर सकते हैं और एक सिमिलर फॉर्मेट में वो स्टोर कर सकते हैं देन for organizing data in proper way, this improves the program efficiency. Which means we can easily or fastly access the data which we require. Okay. So this is the advantage of data structures. Okay. Then what is the definition of data? What is mean by data? Data is a raw, unprocessed input given to a system or process. In computer language, what is the definition of data? Data is a raw, unprocessed input given to a system or a process. For example, 25 is a data. Mumbai, Pune, Nashik. This is also data. What is image? Whatever image, this is also data. Audio, video, clip, it is also data. मीन्स डेटा को हम कैसे डिफाइन कर सकते हैं, डेटा इज अ रॉ अनप्रोसेस्ड इनपुट गिवन टू अ सिस्टम और अ प्रोसेस. ओके, क्लियर? व्हाट इज अ डेटा? Data can be of two types basically, primitive data and non-primitive data. Primitive data means what? जो भी बेसिक डेटा टाइप से मीन्स अगर हमें नंबर्स स्टोर करना है तो वो जो बेसिक नंबर फॉर्म ऑफ डेटा है वो किस टाइप का डेटा है, इंटीजर टाइप का और नंबर टाइप का डेटा. अगर हमें अल्फाबेट्स, नंबर्स और अगर कुछ सिंबल स्टोर करना है तो वो क्या हो गया, कैरेक्टर डेटा हो गया. ओके, सो बेसिकली देयर इज अ टू टाइप्स ऑफ डेटा स्ट्रक्चर, प्रिमिटिव एंड नॉन प्रिमिटिव. प्रिमिटिव डेटा टाइप जो है उसमें बेसिक जो डेटा टाइप्स है वो सभी बेसिक डेटा टाइप्स वो प्रिमिटिव डेटा टाइप्स में आते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल इंटीजर, कैरेक्टर, फ्लोट, बुलियन, ये जो है वो बेसिक डेटा टाइप्स है. और प्रिमिटिव डेटा टाइप्स, प्रिमिटिव जो डेटा टाइप है उसमें अगेन देयर इज अ टू टाइप्स, लीनियर डेटा एंड नॉन लीनियर डेटा. ओके, here data can be of two types, data, okay, not a data structure. Data can be of two types, atomic data. What is atomic data? Atomic data is a single elementary piece of data which cannot be further decomposed. For example, character A is a atomic data, number 10 is a atomic data, means that we cannot further decompose that data into number of parts. That is called a that is called a atomic data. Okay. Then what is a composite data? Composite data is a group of data which consists of subfields. Whenever we decompose that data, it is divided into number of subparts. So that data is called a composite data. For example, uh, a date. Date is a consist of subfields like day, month, and year. So date is an example of composite data. और हम ये भी कह सकते हैं कि अगर नेम, फुल नेम, the full name is a composition of first name, middle name and last name. So this is a composite data. And atomic data means what? Atomic data is a single elementary piece of data which cannot be further decomposed. Okay, so basically there is a two types of data. Okay, data is of two types. First one is atomic data and second one is a composite data. Clear? Now, what is information? Information किसे कहते हैं? तो data means any fact, any raw or unprocessed input or any fact that can be recorded, उसे हम data कह सकते हैं. So what is information? Information is a meaningful or processed data. अगर हम 35 नंबर है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल 35 नंबर, जस्ट 35, it 35 has no meaning. Okay, but when we say Komal is a 35 years old, so दिस मीन्स दैट कोमल का एज कितना है, 35 ईयर्स ओल्ड है वो. ओके, सो इंफॉर्मेशन मीन्स व्हाट? इंफॉर्मेशन इज अ मीनिंगफुल और प्रोसेस डेटा. अगर हम डेटा को मीनिंगफुल वे से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं और प्रोसेस करते हैं तो उसे उसे क्या होता है, हमें इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल डेटा को जब भी हम प्रोसेस करते हैं, उसको कन्वर्ट करते हैं तो उससे हमें क्या मिलता है, इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है. Okay, the system or a process transform raw data into meaningful and useful information. Okay, for example, here, look at here, data 25, no data, no meaning of this data. When just we say 25, but 25 is equal to, अगर हम कह सकते हैं कि एज ऑफ पर्सन इज 25, तो इससे हमें कुछ प्रॉपर इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है. तो इसका मतलब क्या हो गया, ये डेटा जो है वो हमें प्रॉपर प्रोसेस करके उससे इंफॉर्मेशन में ट्रांसफर कर दिया. ओके, सो इंफॉर्मेशन की डेफिनेशन क्या है? इंफॉर्मेशन इज अ मीनिंगफुल or process data. The system or process transform raw data into meaningful and useful information. Okay, so this is the definition of data and information. and there is a two types of data, atomic data and composite data. Okay, now the next part is a data type. Data type, what is mean by data type? Data type describes the format in which data is stored and processed by computer. Data types क्या होता है? Data types describes the format, means which type of data is stored into computer and processed by the computer. Okay, अगर हम नंबर को स्टोर कर रहे हैं कंप्यूटर में और उसको प्रोसेस कर रहे हैं तो वो नंबर का नंबर्स डेटा हो गया, मींस उसको इंटीजर बोलते हैं हम. अगर कैरेक्टर डेटा को हम स्टोर कर रहे हैं और प्रोसेस कर रहे हैं तो उसको हम कैरेक्टर डेटा बोलेंगे. ओके, so what is mean by data type? Data type describes the format in which data is stored and processed by the computer. It also refers the kind of data that variables hold in the programming language. Okay, there is a different types of different data types. For example, integer means there is a number data which is stored in computer. So number data is referred as a integer data. Character को हम refer करेंगे character से. अगर decimal point है numbers में तो उसको हम float से refer करेंगे. So these are the examples of data types: integer, character, and float. Okay, so data types. Data type describe the format in which data is stored and processed by the computer. Okay. Now the next point is a data object. What is mean by data object? Data object refers to the set of elements of a specific data type. मीन्स अगर स्पेसिफिक डेटा टाइप का अगर हम सेट लेते हैं, एलिमेंट्स लेते हैं, नंबर ऑफ एलिमेंट्स कलेक्ट करते हैं तो उसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? डेटा ऑब्जेक्ट. एक डेटा ऑब्जेक्ट के अंदर नंबर ऑफ सेम टाइप ऑफ एलिमेंट्स होते हैं. ओके, सो this data object may be finite or infinite. Okay, so data object refers to the set of elements of a specific data type. Look at here, example, a set of integer number is a infinite number, means agar d is a data object which contains the integers number, positive or negative. Okay, so d is a data object. If the set is infinite, we have to devise some mechanism that represent set in memory because available memory is limited. ये जो डेटा ऑब्जेक्ट है, अगर यहाँ पे हम एग्जांपल देख रहे हैं, ये जो एग्जांपल है इंटीजर सेट ऑफ नंबर्स, तो ये इनफाइनाइट सेट है, नो लिमिटेशंस ऑफ दिस सेट. सो अगर हम ये इनफाइनाइट डेटा अगर कंप्यूटर में स्टोर करेंगे तो ये पॉसिबल है क्या? नहीं. तो इसके लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? कुछ तो मैकेनिज्म ढूंढना पड़ेगा जिससे हम ये इनफाइनाइट डेटा कंप्यूटर में स्टोर कर सकते हैं. ओके, बिकॉज why this is necessary? Because there is a limitations of computer memory. There is a limited computer memory available. Okay, so ये रहा set of integers और set of English alphabets is a finite set. For example, A to Z, small capital A to Z. This is a finite data object. Okay. Now the next part is a data structure. What is mean by data structure? A data structure consists of data objects, their properties, and the set of legal operations which may be applied to the elements of the data objects. Okay, so what is mean by data structure? Means data structure actually होता क्या है? तो data structure is a set of domains, means set of objects properties and set of legal operations which may be applied to the elements of the data object. For example, the triple DFA denotes the data structure. D means denotes the data object. It means it is a set of elements. F means set of operations that can be carried out on the elements, and A means properties and the rules of the operations that perform on that particular data elements. Okay, or a set of elements. Okay, now the next part is a abstract data types. What is mean by abstract data types? The abstract data type is a mathematical or a conceptual definition of a structure. The structure that is the triple DFA, which we called as a abstract data type, because it is a simply a conceptual specification of the data structure. It only gives the logical properties and operations of the data type without giving a details about the implementation. Hence, it is a just abstract. Abstract का मतलब क्या है कि जो भी internal manipulation है वो hide रहता है, और जो भी खाली जो इंटरनल एग्जीक्यूशन है वो हाइड रहता है, और जो भी नेसेसरी थिंग्स है वही डिस्प्ले होता है, तो इसको बोलते हैं हम अब्स्ट्रैक्शन. ओके, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट conceptual definition of structure. Consider integer as an abstract data type. We need to specify the data object. For example, which element belong to the integer type, the operations on integers, and the rules for this operation. For example, D. D is a set of finite integer elements. Okay, for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, dash, 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 or 0, -1, -2, -3, dash, dash, dash. Okay, so this is the set of infinite integer numbers. The operations performed on that integers are plus, minus, multiplication, division, module, less than, greater than. These are the operations which are performed on that particular data objects. Okay, and the rules for performing operations on that data objects are arithmetic rules. अगर हमें addition करना है तो there is a compulsory, there is a need of two elements. Okay, A plus B. Okay, so arithmetic rules which apply to the operations. Okay, now this concept clears the basic what is actually data, what type of data is there, and what is the data types, what is data objects, what is abstract data type. Okay, clear. Now the next point, which we already discussed, types of data structures. Basically, there is a two types of data structures: primitive data and non-primitive. Primitive means basic data types, and non-primitive means जो भी हम data structure, array, stack, queue, trees, graph, these are the examples of non-primitive data structure. Non-primitive data structures may again, this non-primitive data structure is again divided into two parts: linear structure and non-linear structure. Linear means जो भी data linearly or sequentially store होता है. The elements of linear data structure are arranged in a line. Look at here. A1 is a one data, A2 is another data, dash, 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 AN. This data is stored or arranged in memory in a line or in a sequential manner. That data structure is called a linear data structure. And that example of this linear data structure is array and linked list. Okay. Again, I repeat, linear data structure means what? The linear data structure means in linear data structure, the elements of linear data structure are arranged in a line or in a sequential form. Okay, or in a list form. Okay, there is an ordering among them such that there is a first element, second element, and so on. Okay. So example of linear data structure is array and linked list. Okay. Then next type is a non-linear data structure. Non-linear data, linear में क्या होता है कि जो भी डेटा है वो हम linearly और sequentially और in a line store करते हैं, एक के बाद दूसरा, दूसरे के बाद तीसरा, तीसरे के बाद next, so on. Okay, so there is a sequential form, and non-linear data structure means what? In non-linear data structures, the elements have a one to many or many to many relationships between them. The elements do not form a specific sequence. Okay. For example, to represent the directory structure or a road network, we need a non-linear structure. For example, D is divided in two parts. Okay, Max and CS. CS is again divided into DS and AC, and DS again divided into nodes and programs. So this is a tree-like structure or graphs. These are the examples of non-linear data structure. Okay. Again, I repeat the definition of non-linear. In non-linear data structures, the element have one to many or many to many relationship between them. The elements do not form a specific sequence. For example, to represent a directory structure or a road network, we need a non-linear structure. And the examples of non-linear structure is a tree and graph. Okay. Now, the next is a static and dynamic data structures. Here the linear and non-linear data structures. Okay, static and dynamic. Static and dynamic. Static means a static data structure is a one in which the size of the data structure does not change during the entire program execution. Okay, once we allocate a specific part to a specific program, and at the time of execution, if the need of that program, need of memory uh, is increased, then uh, there is no way to change the memory, or when at the the runtime, when the memory requirement of particular program is increases, there is a no chance to increase the memory at runtime in static memory allocation. Okay, but when in dynamic memory allocation, when the program need is increases, it is allocated, or it allocates the memory runtime. Okay. A static data structure is one in which the size of data structure does not change. Means हम runtime अगर कुछ भी साइज इंक्रीज होता है और डिक्रीज होता है तो वो हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते एट द रन टाइम. ओके, द मेमोरी इज allocated is fixed during compile time and remains allocated even when there are no elements in the data structures. Once we allocate the memory, that memory is allocated until the total program execution is over. Okay. For example of the static data structure is a array. Array is an example of static data structure. But in dynamic data structure, whenever the size of data structure increases or decreases, means whenever the size of data structures grows or shrinks, or the elements are added or removed dynamically, the memory allocated to that particular elements is released or free or allocated at the runtime during the program execution. So it is called dynamic data structures. Okay. In most real-time application, we can't predict the number of elements in advance. Okay. For example, when we want to add the data in memory at the runtime dynamically, then we does not predefine that there is a that much number of elements in memory. So as per need, the elements are added and removed dynamically. So runtimely, the memory requirement is grows and shrinks. So in dynamic memory allocation, uh, the memory requirement is fulfilled by allocating memory dynamically. or release memory dynamically. And the example of these dynamic data structures are stack, queue, linked list, etc. Okay. Now the next type of data structure is a sequential organization and link organization. In sequential organization, that data elements are stored in fixed distance. जैसे कि हमने देखा कि लीनियर डेटा स्ट्रक्चर में जो भी डेटा एलिमेंट्स है वो लीनियरली और इन सिक्वेंशियली और इन अ लिस्ट मैनर ऐड होते हैं और स्टोर होते हैं. ओके, सो इन sequential organization there is also all elements are stored in a fixed distance. Means अगर a element a1 element is stored in li location, then a2 element is stored in li plus c location. Means जो specific distance है, c is a constant here. Okay, so again next a3 element is stored in li plus c plus c. Okay, so in sequential organization, the data elements are stored in fixed distance. This means that if an element AI is stored at location Li in memory, the element AI plus 1 will be stored at location Li plus C, where C is a constant. Means इसका मतलब क्या है कि अगर A1 एलिमेंट अगर 100 लोकेशन पे स्टोर है, ओके, और C की वैल्यू अगर 200 है, तो A2 लोकेशन A2 एलिमेंट इज स्टोर्ड इन 300 लोकेशन, A3 एलिमेंट इज स्टोर्ड इन 500 लोकेशन. मीन्स 200 का गैप रहेगा और उसके बाद ही हर एक एलिमेंट स्टोर होगा. मीन्स सी इज अ कांस्टेंट, जो भी एक स्पेसिफिक कांस्टेंट डिस्टेंस है वो सभी एलिमेंट के लिए कॉमन रहेगा. ओके, इन सीक्वेंशियल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन the elements are stored in fixed distance. Means array uses the sequential organization. जैसे कि लीनियर डेटा स्ट्रक्चर में हमने देखा कि एरे जो है वो लीनियरली भी ऑर्गेनाइज होता है और सिक्वेंशियली भी ऑर्गेनाइज होता है. ओके, in link organization the elements are stored in memory location. Their sequence is maintained by linking the elements. The location of the elements does not determine its order in the set of elements. Link means इसका मतलब क्या है, लोकेशन कौन सा भी हो, एक एलिमेंट दूसरे के साथ लिंक किया जाता है. मीन्स द सीक्वेंस इज नॉट मेंटेन. एक एलिमेंट एक लोकेशन पे रहेगा, दूसरा एलिमेंट दूसरे लोकेशन पे रहेगा और हर एक एलिमेंट क्या किया जाता है, लिंक किया जाता है. ओके, सो the elements are stored in memory location. Their sequence is not maintained by linking the elements. The location of the element does not determine its order in the elements of the set. जैसे कि मैंने बताया कि A1 एलिमेंट अगर 100 लोकेशन पे होगा तो A2 500 लोकेशन पे रहेगा, AN 1000 लोकेशन पे रहेगा. लेकिन हर एक एलिमेंट एक दूसरे से लिंक किया जाता है और वो एक दूसरे के लिंक यूज करके उसको एक्सेस किया जाता है. मीन्स एलिमेंट आर स्टोर्ड इन मेमोरी लोकेशन बाय लिंकिंग. ओके, नॉट इन सिक्वेंशियल मैनर. सो दिस इज अ लिंक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. लिंकिंग कैसा होता है, कैसे डेटा लिंक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में स्टोर किया जाता है, ये सब हम देखने वाले हैं. ओके, और द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ लिंक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज अ लिंक लिस्ट. ओके, लिंक लिस्ट इज एग्जाम्पल ऑफ लिंक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. So this is the basic data types of data structures. First, logical, physical. Logical data structure क्या होता है? Is a logical ADT. Abstract data type is a logical data structure because it defines the logical properties of the data types. Okay, hence it just a mathematical or abstract concept which defines the data type. मीन लॉजिकल मीन्स जो लॉजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज डिफाइन. मीन्स अगर हमने डिसाइड किया कि अगर एक वेरिएबल है, ओके, और वो वेरिएबल मेमोरी में उसको स्पेस एलोकेट है, तो वो ये सब लॉजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज है. ओके, और उसमें इंटीजर टाइप का डेटा स्टोर होता है। तो ये जो है वो लॉजिकल डेटा स्ट्रक्चर। फिजिकल डेटा स्ट्रक्चर क्या है? फिजिकल डेटा स्ट्रक्चर इज अ इम्प्लिमेंटेड एडीटी, म्हणजे जो भी लॉजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज है, जो भी लॉजिकल डेटा है, उसका एक्चुअल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन जो होता है वो एडीटी फिजिकल डेटा स्ट्रक्चर होता है। ओके, विच कैन यूज टू स्टोर एलिमेंट एंड परफॉर्म ऑपरेशंस। ओके, देन लीनियर एंड नॉन लीनियर में क्या होता है? ऑल डेटा एलिमेंट्स आर स्टोर्ड इन अ सीक्वेंस और इन अ लिस्ट मैनर। ओके, they are in a order, one after the another. Okay, and the examples of linear data structures are arrays and linked list. Okay, okay, sorry. And non-linear, in non-linear data structures, the elements have one to many and many to one, means जो भी ट्री लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स और ग्राफ है वो नॉन लीनियर डेटा रिप्रेजेंट करता है, जिसमें वन टू मेनी मेनी म्हणजे वन एलिमेंट डिराइव्स द मेनी एलिमेंट्स और मेनी एलिमेंट्स डिराइव्स द अनदर मेनी एलिमेंट्स. ओके, सो नॉन लीनियर डेटा स्ट्रक्चर examples are trees and graph. Static and dynamic. Static data structure is a one in which the size of data structure does not change during the entire program. Means अगर एक बार हमने साइज फिक्स की तो वो हम साइज चेंज नहीं कर सकते थ्रू आउट द program execution. Okay, once we allocate that particular memory to particular program, the memory size is not grows or shrink during the program execution. It remains the constant throughout the program execution. This is a static data structure. Okay, and the example of static data structure is a array. And the next is a dynamic. Dynamic data structure, the size of data structure grows and shrinks as the elements are added and removed dynamically as per the requirements of program. And the example of this dynamic data structure is a stack, queue, and linked list. Next is a sequential. In sequential organization, data elements are stored in a fixed distance, and the distance remains the constant. Okay, for a specific for each data elements. Okay, and the example of sequential organization is a array. And in link organization, the elements are stored in memory location. Their sequence is maintained by linking the elements. And the example of linked organization is linked list uses the link organization. Okay, so this is all about the data structure. Just what is the data structure? What is the definition of data? Why we needed the data structure? What is the basic need of data structure? When we organize data properly, we can access it efficiently, and we can improve the efficiency of program. We can access the data quickly by using proper data structure organization. So basic advantages of data structures are: when we use data structure, it is easier to access and manipulate the information quickly. A variety of operations are performed on data structures. Related data can be stored in a proper required format, and it improves the program efficiency as well as computer utilization. Okay, then this is the data. What is data? Actually, data is any raw and unprocessed input, or we can say that any real fact that can be recorded. For example, 25 Pune, Nashik, these are the example of data. Otherwise, any image we can say it is a data. Any audio or video, it can be data. Data can be two types: atomic and composite. Atomic means the data which cannot be composed into number of subparts, means it is a single entity. So this data is called atomic data, and composite data means the composite data is a group of data. For example, अगर हम name लेते हैं तो name is a combination of three parts: first name, last name, and middle name. So composite data is a group data atom which consists of subfields, each of which is a atomic. Okay. Information is a meaningful or a process data which is the output of process data. Okay. रॉ डेटा को हम प्रोसेस करके मीनिंगफुल फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट करते हैं, उसे हम इंफॉर्मेशन बोलते हैं. ओके, फॉर एग्जांपल हियर डेटा इज 25 बट देयर इज अ नो मीनिंग, but when we say age of person is 25, there is a proper meaning. So data, raw data is processed and the information is created. Okay. Data type means what? Whatever data is stored and processed by the computer, the format of that data is described by the data type. Okay, for example, integer, character, float is the data types. Data objects. What is data object? Data objects refer to the set of elements, means D, set of elements of a specific data types. अगर integer data type है, okay, तो integer का set of integer elements. Okay, so D is equal to integer type of data. अगर character data बोलते हैं तो character data. Float है तो float data. Set of all set represent the same type of data type. Okay, this may be finite or infinite. Data structure consists of data object, their properties, and set of operations. Okay, DFA. D denotes the data object set of elements. F denotes the set of operations that can be carried or that can be performed on the elements, and A means the properties and the rules use or rules of the operations. Okay, then types of data: logical data structure, physical data structures, linear and non-linear, static and dynamic data structures, sequential organization and link organization. So this is the introduction of data structures, and the next part, the types of data structure, which is a non-primitive: stacks, queues, arrays, trees, graph, sorting, searching techniques. All these are continuing in next lectures.